everybody. Welcome back to my channel. So as you know, I like to collect two things, and that's vintage magazines as well as backpacks. Unless you want to count hairbands, hair wraps, things like that, then we could say three things. But today I am showing you another magazine from my collection. Now it's wrapped in this plastic to preserve it, and I thought that keeping it on would give a little more excitement to the video. But if you don't know, I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. And before you say anything, I've been listening to them since I was 16 years old. I say that because I did a magazine one time, and people thought that I only liked Fleetwood Mac because of TikTok making them popular. I absolutely adore Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. So here we have a magazine called Groups. Okay, so it says free giant 2x3 color poster inside. Now I won't be able to take that out because I want to preserve the magazine as much as I can. Here we have the price, which was $1.95. And here we have the Bee Gees. It says 32 dino color pages, over 150 dazzling photos. As you can see on the bottom, we have Fleetwood Mac. There's Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, Christine, Mick Fleetwood, and John McVie. Okay, so let's get into it. Now keep in mind, a lot of the content in here will be in black and white. So we have the contents. that you can read over here. Rock Wars Bee Gees versus Fleetwood Mac. Now I would have to pick Fleetwood Mac. So the table of contents, they've got the Fever on stage with the Brothers Gibb, 12 Years of Gold, Barry Gibb, Robin Gibb, Maurice Gibb, full color poster, the Fleetwood Mac story, Fleetwood Mac Live, capsule record reviews, old concerts and new, official grooves ballot, Lindsey Buckingham, John McVie, Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, and Mick Fleetwood. Did I say their names right in the beginning? I might have butchered that part, but I'm very familiar with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Christine McVie sadly passed away recently, so I was lucky enough to have gotten to see them all perform in 2017. I was so excited because my aunt knew how much I loved Fleetwood Mac, and she got me the tickets. So if it wasn't for her, I never would have had that experience, and it was one of my happiest times in my life. So here we have the Bee Gees. I'm not too familiar with them. So it says Barry with his wife Linda, Robin and Molly, Maurice and Yvonne, Hugh and Barbara Gibb. So that would be Barry with his wife, I believe that's Linda, Robin and Molly, Maurice and Yvonne, and Hugh and Barbara Gibb. Now this picture, I believe it's somebody from the Bee Gees. I don't know the name, I'm sorry, but if any of you girls or guys out there are familiar with the band Rage Against the Machine, I feel like he kind of resembles the singer here. Maybe it's just me. brothers Gibb and Helen Reddy on Midnight Special at the Billboard Awards show with Peter Frampton and fellow host Chris Christopherson. I do like Peter Frampton. Performing with rock superstar Jerry Lee Lewis. And then on the bottom, posting backstage with teen hero Sean Cassidy and younger brother Andy Gibb. Okay, so I'm not familiar with the Gibbs, but now I know a little bit that the brother is Sean Cassidy. I believe this magazine had some water damage, so there's some good crinkles. Now, I'm a huge Fleetwood fan, so I'm not gonna do too much reading in regards to these other bands or people, but I will show you and read the captions. So here it says Barry, sorry for the glare. Barry wound up in court late in 1968 after admitting that 2 guns in his possession were unregistered. His girlfriend, Linda, 18, later to become his wife, was being pestered by a stranger, and Harry fired a blank over his head. So this lady to the right is Maureen Gibb, Barry's first wife, on her way to court when she granted a divorce in April of 1970. And on the bottom here we have Robin rehearsing his short-lived solo career in June of 1969. Maurice making up with his wife, Lulu. And finally in 1973, they separated for the last time. Now I feel like I've done this magazine before, So I apologize. I would feel horrible if I've already made this video. But I remember looking at this man's shirt and saying how it was very eccentric. After divorcing Maureen in April, Barry wed beauty queen Linda in September. She gives me Priscilla Presley vibes. Very pretty. On stage with the brothers Gibb. Do you still love Elvis? Why, yes, I do. Then you don't want to miss this unique special collector's edition of the films of Elvis Presley. In the complete catalog of Elvis' entire movie career, and its photo-filled, fact-filled pages will take you back to the days when Elvis was king of the silver screen. The films of Elvis Presley covers each of every one of Presley's movies. From Love Me Tender, his first, to Elvis on Tour, his last. So for $2.50 plus 50 cents for postage, you can get that. Here we have Chuck Berry, The Drifters, Chubby Checker, Lloyd Price, The Shirelles, Jay Black, and Del Shannon. I love Chubby Checker. I love The Shirelles. These look like some songs. Okay, I have to read this. Words by Elvis. How can you mend a broken heart? Never mind. I thought it was actually words from Elvis, but they're just talking about songs that were written by the Bee Gees but sung by other artists. So that's pretty neat. Here we have Barry Gibb. Robin Gibb. I'm pretty sure when I saw Fleetwood Mac that I saw the Bee Gees too, because there were a couple bands playing. I know I saw Journey, but that was with the new singer. Well, here's part of the poster, and you can see Christine McVie. She looked beautiful. My mother always liked her over Stevie. My mom wasn't too fond of Stevie, which is funny because I grew up loving Stevie Nicks. But my mom just, I don't know, to be honest, it could have been a jealousy thing, but she liked Fleetwood Mac, the music, and she liked her. She liked Christine. Oh, you don't know how tempted I am to want to open this poster. Here's Lindsey Buckingham. I love him. He's such a talented musician, and when I played guitar, he really inspired me. I love his style of guitar playing. Unfortunately, I have to sell my guitar now. Hopefully someone will buy it. But I'll eventually get another one when I have the funds. And I don't know when that would be, but I just wanted to mention that I will no longer have a guitar soon. Oh man, I can't show you the picture, the poster of Stevie. So let's read a little bit about the Fleetwood Mac story. Okay. So the year 1975 saw the amazing eruption of Fleetwood Mac, a popular and respected concert and record institution for over 8 years. Through a continuing stream of changes, they suddenly exploded past all levels of previous accomplishments, catching America by pleasant surprise to become one of our very favorite bands. Hardly your standard overnight success over decade success would be closer to it, but the time it took to achieve and the amount of good music involved in doing so only served to make the end that much more special. In order to reach 1975, when Fleetwood Mac exploded onto the music stage in full force, you have to go back to England in 1967, when three renegades from John Mayall's Blues Breakers guitarist Peter Green, who I also like, who succeeded Eric Clapton, bassist John McVie, and drummer Mick Fleetwood, formed a group called Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. Their official debut was on August 12, 1967, at the Windsor Jazz and Blues Festival. Joining their three-man crew at the time was Jerry Spencer, a guitarist whom Green had chanced upon in a Birmingham bar, and for a while the group was known as Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, featuring Jeremy Spencer. As can be seen from the outset, egos have had a lot to do with the Fleetwood Mac's history. Their first recording on the Blue Horizon label was blues-orientated, especially the single Believe My Time Ain't Long. Then came a medium-sized hit called. So there you have them. Black Magic Woman, which Santana turned into a monster back in the US of A. In fact, most of the music in this period was similar to Mayall's basic electric stuff imported from the black side of urban America. This is a lot to read, so I really do remember going over this. I looked at my videos and I didn't see it, so I don't know. So the Fleetwood Mac family, I can barely see any of this, so bear with me. I can't read it. I'm sorry. Well, there you have Stevie seen with a couple of her favorites, Rod Stewart and boyfriend Paul Fishkin. So I'll read something Stevie said. In attempting to explain this overwhelming popularity boom, that basically the audiences really like us as people, I think they have a good feeling towards us in a very human way, that the good feeling extends to all 5 members of the band is indicative of a range of depth of talent that is possibly unmatched in all of rock and roll. We never seem to stop progressing, says Christine. Once you slot yourself, there's only so far you can go in any tight direction. I really don't want to stop experimenting in different directions just to see what we can do, especially now that we have a combination of people who are able to do so many things as well. We can't really say where we're going, says Lindsay, because idea-wise, we're always a little ahead of ourselves, which is the best creative situation a band can be in. Next came rumors. And what more can be said about an album that the whole world seems to have snatched from the record racks? Smash singles include Lindsay's volatile rocker Go Your Own Way and his bluesy Don't Stop, Dreams, and finally You Make Loving Fun, one of their biggest singles ever. All in all, Rumors was the rare synthesis that, with only a handful of other albums, best defies the tone of mainstream rock and roll in the mid-70s. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Fleetwood Mac's success is that they have refused to go about with svelte heads. Integrity and taste are their ultimate concerns, and the band refuses to get involved in merchandising gimmicks. Much of this can be credited to Mick Fleetwood himself, who in the age of lawyers, accountants, and businessmen, is the only drummer managing one of rock's supergroups. One thing can be said for sure. No other band in history of rock and roll has gone through more personal and artistic changes and lived not only to tell the tale, but to become one of the most popular groups of all time. Fleetwood Mac has always had a great reputation for excellent studio work, but made most of their money from touring. They had a strong cult following for a long time, when Bob Welch left and was replaced by Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. The smooth, spacey feel hung on, but added to it was a romantic flavor that most bands don't dare attempt for fear of embarrassing themselves with corny lyrics and syrupy arrangements. What is their musical genius? It is one part poetry and their evocative evocative lyrics, and another part passionate arrangements filled with power and depth. The quintet may well be the most important rock group of the late 70s. Stevie is about as alluring a performer as rock music offers, but for a while her fans were worried. Notes on her vocal cords threatened to shorten her career. Well, that certainly didn't stop her now, did it? It's pretty cool to read this stuff, knowing that they continued for years later. Finally, with Rumors, they put together what all other bands in the land could only dream of. Now Fleetwood Mac is richer than most countries from their studio LPs, and will probably own the world from future concert grosses. When the band plays live, they bring back the old thrill of being there. Their March 77 Nassau Coliseum concert was brilliant. Stevie was up there dancing and singing like an underage sex queen. Okay, that's a little weird to say. Christine was the vocal and musical anchor, her rich contralto filling the hall, and the boys, as usual, were all very solid. Mick on the drums, John punching away on the bass, and Lindsey sounding like three different guitarists rolled into one. Nicks and Buckingham added the spark which took Fleetwood Mac to the top. Their previous singing career was so weak, however, that Stevie was working as a waitress before joining the band. Lindsey is California folk pop. Go Your Own Way features his buoyant tenor plus some high-flying guitar licks. Stevie's look is constantly changing from high school flirt to sexy, glamorous woman. Okay, this looks like another ad where you can buy punk rock t-shirts. Let's see, $5.95 plus $1 for postage and handling. And you can dazzle your friends with England's newest rainbow glitter t-shirts. Let them know how you feel about the disco scene and the rock scene. Each message is emblazoned on the t-shirt in 5 shimmering colors. The t-shirts are made of 100% cotton, for both men and women. Lindsey Buckingham. He started out as an acid rock band called Fritz. Came from a San Francisco family of swimming jocks. Brother Greg won silver medal in 1968 Olympics. Stevie left him after 6 years together. Has had many solo offers, but isn't the least bit interested. His strong guitar work provided a harder feel on Rumors as opposed to the softer Fleetwood Mac LP. Was real down for a while after the split with Stevie. Once he resolved to start seeing other women, Stevie couldn't handle it all. After Buckingham Nicks was axed by Polydor Records, Lindsey got a job doing telephone sales. Brought California sound to Fleetwood Mac. Beach Boy Brian Wilson was a strong influence on him. He quit water polo team to join a rock and roll band while in high school. He felt cleansed after getting over Stevie's breakup, but has found it difficult getting involved in another love affair. Fleetwood Mac takes up too much of his time and energy. He fell under the folk music spell in the early 60s, a style he changed after joining Fritz. Before joining Fleetwood, Lindsey toured with Don Everly, one of his early heroes. He has become a record producer of some renown. Buckingham Nicks developed a cult following down in the Birmingham, Alabama, although no one knows exactly why. His technical skill and feel for music has made fans forget about Peter Green, Danny Kirwan, and Bob Welch, Fleetwood's earliest guitarists. While playing songs like I'm So Afraid, I love that song, he attacks the music physically and emotionally, and his energy lifts the other members of the band. Has grown as a composer. Go Your Own Way, Monday Morning, and Never Going Back Again are his creations. I love that. I love the moon with the tree over the moon. It's beautiful. Now I can't read all this, but this is John McVie. but I will read about Stevie next. Wow, there's a lot. I hope I have enough time. I'll try my best. Stevie Nicks is always writing mysteriously poetic songs, although she's a real rock and roller. Eventually, she'll retire to a home in the mountains where she'll write, play piano, listen to music, and raise kids. Every once in a while, she'll go to New York City and shop for clothes. Well, I don't think things went accordingly to what she thought they would, but she continued to be a queen. She quit San Jose State just before graduating to join up on a tour with acid rock band called Fritz. This was in 1968 and provided important experience for her. Her father was a wealthy executive for Greyhound in San Francisco. She loved chiffon dresses, touring, making money, and being in a band, but once away from it all, spends much of her time alone. She has been known as a hypochondriac, but is really a strong lady. Doesn't particularly care for other rock stars, and rumors still linking her with Don Henley from the Eagles and Paul Kantner, Jefferson Starship, are false. No, I'm pretty sure she was with Don Henley. She wants to capture the charisma that Janis Joplin had during her career. Gets the greatest joy when she realizes that her songs have an effect on people. Wants to have a baby within the next 3 years by the time she's 32. Well, Stevie has never had a child. She pretty much is on her own with her dogs. So, she's a dog mom. After Fritz broke up, she stayed with Lindsay at Buckingham Nicks. At first, they just wrote a lot of songs together. Then they fell in love. A review to a leading rock magazine criticized her singing and almost led her to quit. That's why you should never listen to other people's opinions. That happened to me my whole life. People criticized everything I had a passion for, and I always quitted because of that. But I realized that don't give up your passion. Just because somebody doesn't believe in you doesn't mean you shouldn't believe in yourself. As the Grateful Witch, Rhiannon, she took center stage, and Fleetwood Mac finally had an overwhelmingly popular superstar. She feels that it is impossible to be in the same band with your lover, and that's why her romance with Lindsay had to end. You know, that's probably true because of the jealousy that comes along with it. A lot of groupies are going to be following him as well as her. Since the separation, has spent much of her time writing songs and being alone. The songs she wrote for Rumors are about the people in the band figure out who's who. Raised in Phoenix and Los Angeles, her grandfather was a country and western singer, and she learned a lot from him. The first song she ever wrote was a laminate for a high school love affair that went bad with a guy named Stevie Dold. I wish I can read this about Christine McVie, but my time has run out. I apologize. I would love to read all that. And then again, I wish I could read this about Mick Fleetwood. Well, thank you guys for watching. I really wish that I could have read more for you, but time has ran out. Now, there was a lot about her they didn't mention, such as her addictions. She had a addiction to the drug that begins with a C, as well as a pharmaceutical benzo. And I don't know what I can and can't say, so I'll leave it at that, but I love her. So thank you for watching, and I have to make sure I didn't do this magazine. I just feel like I have already. I might have done it on a live stream. I'm not sure, but I did go through my videos and didn't see it. But I hope you all have a nice night and that this video relaxed you. Good night. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.